Hello, this is Vance, and this is Tuesday, January 31st, 2017. These are the CL trades for today using the Slowhand method for price action. Yesterday, I didn't do an update, or I didn't do the final recap. Yesterday, my allergies were acting up again. I was coughing and sneezing all day. And this morning, I did the demonstration trade this morning. I'll talk about that a little bit, but I'm much better today. And in fact, it just happens a couple times a month, so it's nothing to be upset about. But I was just sneezing all day yesterday, and by the time for the update came around, I was just so stuffed up I didn't really want to do it. So even till today, I'm still a little bit hoarse because of it, but I'm going to do it anyway. Push my way through it. Did a demonstration trade this morning. We'll talk a little about the overnight, what happened the overnight. Price, first thing this morning, well, early this morning, about 6:30, price started to move up. We had this move up just close to the open. And I was actually at I was here, for this part, pretty early this morning, before 7, probably about 7:30. And the area that I was really looking at more than anything else is right here. And I'll just show that. Is that I was here for this area right here. You don't have any of this movement over here, but I saw this as a range, this area, and this was at 6:30. I wasn't here at 6:30, but then by the time I got here, it was about 8 o'clock in this area. The trouble is that I don't know whether prices are going to be heading down back here to retest this area, or price is going to be heading up higher. And because the volume is so thin in the overnight, we don't know really how that's going to actually occur. I mean, we don't have follow-through, becomes very scanty. So as a result, anytime you're looking at shorting at areas like this, expecting price to come down, you could wind up getting stuck in this trade for a long period of time. And so I was really questioning whether to go short here. I mean, it's a pretty decent setup, especially when you have rejection like this, and you got a very strong bar here to go short with the expectation you might retest this area. Like a range, like the top of a range. I mean, we've had kind of a top. Well, this is kind of a top here, but this is just in the overnight. And so not really too sure how things are going to transpire. So I waited on this, and finally price did break up. But to kind of give you an example of how long this really takes, most of the time when you're looking at the CL during the regular trading hours, it usually moves within a relatively quick period of time. So here, this is 7:30 right here on this bar, and by the time it starts moving, this is close to 20 minutes later. So these bars take 5 minutes or so to kind of complete, and then when it does close, it's way up here. So to kind of get in here with this type of the kind of volume, how long is it going to take to complete? So I kind of skipped this area. It didn't look like a really decent setup because you really don't have this trend line in here as of yet. And then you can also see that from 7:30 to 7:52 for the next 15 minutes, we have this overlap. And again, another fairly strong bar, could be heading right back down. Maybe it was just a false start. But then right at just after 8:10, it kind of shoots up here. And within the next few minutes, it just kind of takes off. So by the time this actually transpires, it starts moving up, by kind of left behind. And I'm not overly concerned about it. I'm looking at really what's going to happen near the open. So price pulls back. This is just at 8 o'clock. This is 8:30, is 8:35. And right close to here, this is when this bar, we have a strong bear bar here. And then we have capitulation, which is off this double bottom here. You can almost consider this is a micro double bottom. But we see price comes down here, tests, and I got in right here. My target, if my 15 ticks are down here, it's below this area. I mean, you could play a pretty tight stop. I was expecting that was really close to these tops. So I got in at 52.90 with the expectation that price would, my target was up here, expecting that price is second entry long, first pullback, second pullback, and because of this movement up here, just prior to the open, I expected there was going to be another leg, a measured move. And from here, let's say this is the bottom here, looking up to here, and I'm thinking that the measured move first pullback, say this is the first pullback, then we have two legs back down to here, and that's why I looked at it as far as support was concerned. and I was expecting that, looking at price moving up here someplace, at least another leg. And you can see that not only did it complete here, but then you see prices really stalled. It really went into this channel. Now, this looks like a decent, you can see this capitulation. You take a short here, I wouldn't, you could take it if you're looking at really aggressive, being an aggressive trader because at the end of the measured move, but you're better probably to wait. I mean, you certainly could have shorted here and it would have worked out. Going long here, and I looked at this. This is another area that I really looked at. I didn't really look like this trade right here because I wasn't sure whether it was, whether momentum was going to be follow through to the downside. But when we had this recovery, and by the time this bar completed here, we had this overlap. By the time this bar, the strong bear bull bar completed here, it really didn't afford me enough room to get to the other side. So, and I didn't know where the support was going to be, so I kind of passed on this trade. It would have probably, if you would have limited in, you would have worked at it way too up because remember, this is just a 15 tick stop. But you see, this is pretty tough to limit in on this, and this is only 15 ticks. And you can see that this total range was only the only way that you can get in on something like this for the short is to really to limit in, or by the time it completes, you'd be down here. Now that's not necessarily a bad trade, but where your stop is going to be, or your target is below where the previous low was. And as you can see, it did work its way through. It did break through this bottom, but it only stayed there temporarily. The next trade that I took was, once price broke down here, there's a first entry, pulls back. We have another pullback down to here, can't go down, and then a turnaround. And this was the area where I went long, again, based on the fact that my stop is below this area, and my target would be below these double tops here. And that was the next trade. And this trade worked out very well. So I had a winning trade here, and that was pretty much it for me. I mean, I didn't take any other trades, but you can see that price really channeled, developed into this range. It was really a fake range rate, almost like it didn't really go down that far in this one. Pulls back and then makes this bottom, turns around, comes back down to here, and you can always look at this area. This, and I want to talk about this. You could have shorted this area as well, but it affords you enough room barely to get out. Again, this is yet to limit in with trade here. Now, I want to talk about this one. This trade really looks like a pretty decent setup. For instance, we have a second entry long. Price moves down to this area. First entry, pulls back. Here's a second entry long right on this one. Now, it's a pretty strong rejection out of this bottom. Your stop is in good shape. It looks like your target is below this double top here. But as you can see, it failed. It didn't get up any further than that. In fact, it started to overlap and then it turns back down. So really it's like a failed second entry long to get your 15 ticks. How do you really plan for that? I mean, the setup is a pretty decent setup. I don't think there's anything wrong with this setup. The problem is it just didn't go to completion. It's just a trade that didn't work out. And that's the whole idea. Nothing's 100% in trading. And so even though it's a decent setup, you can see that it looks like a really good reversal pattern. It's almost like a replica of this one. It's almost identical to this one right here, as far as where price comes, breaks the trend channel, attempts to go down, and then recovers and heads up forward. Same thing. Price moves down this area, breaks the trend channel, comes back, looks like it's going to move up, and it only gets up a few ticks before it turns around. Now, your guiding principle probably should be this capitulation, I suppose, because it can't make its way up, and then we get this strong bear bar, so you're probably at break even. It got ahead about 10 ticks, then turned around and headed back in the other direction. To see this, price pulls back. Could you get on this trade? I don't know about that. I mean, yeah, you could certainly make the argument that this is a failed second entry long, so it's first entry failed second entry long that turns into a second entry short. So I hope you can. Let me show you that here. And okay, if you're on that trade, here's the peak. Here's your first entry, pulls back. Second entry down to here. So second entry long that fails, and then it turns into second entry short. So here's right here. This is your first entry, pulls back. This is your second entry right here. So this is the second entry bar right here. It's not a bad bar to get short in. Your stop is above previous high. The only challenge is that you're following down for a looking maybe for a measured move off of this one, which would give you your 15 ticks. Target would be down here. You could say perhaps this would be your target. So if you get on this short right here, you can ride this all the way down to the bottom. So, and that was it. And then that was pretty much it for the rest of the day. We're looking at at 2 o'clock here, and we've been moving sideways since then. So that's pretty much it for today. I mean, there wasn't. If you're fortunate to get in these trades, there's a couple of good dramatic moves. And as I've been mentioning the last few times, I've been talking about, just really quickly. So you see this is a 30 ticks. Again, down here you have 30 ticks before you have a pullback. This is roughly maybe a little bit more than that. Then you have the pullback. You see 30 ticks down to here before there's a pullback. Again, over here. This is right here is close to 30 ticks. This is more than that, of course, once you break through here. First 30 ticks and then a little bit further down. This was a pretty strong selling burst right here. Rips down here to this area. So it's probably more like 60 ticks. But then also keep an eye on where your 15 ticks are. 15 ticks, this rotation. Look where look at the size of these ranges here. 15 ticks, 15, 15, 15 where it pulls back here. So I can't see you not being conscious of having 15 ticks for the run, and like 15 or 30 ticks for the run, like a section, and looking for where your targets are. Like for instance here, this is 30 ticks from the top to the bottom here. The rebounds 30 ticks, and then there's another 30 ticks here, so that's a 60 roughly. Seems pretty straightforward. So if you're looking at those, I mean, keep those in your back of your mind when you're looking at something like this area. That's why I'm so reluctant I'm very cautious about entering here. And even this one, even though it was a little bit further than 15 ticks here, the only reason I looked at this is because we already had a strong move up. I was looking for a measured move. So had the strong move up, we have the pullback, and then I'm looking for a move of about an equal amount. And now again, it's not 100%. There's no way you can't expect that. But certainly after you have a move up like that, you get pretty think that you're going to have another move. And if you get into a decent entry, then you would be fine. It's in this channel. You still have buyers perhaps stepping in, and this is right at the open. So that's it. So I'll leave that the way it is. That's all for today. Slow hand method, mindful trading. Any applications, I've sent them out day before yesterday. Get the complete them in for those of you that have requested it. And if you get that information into me, I'll be able to kind of review them. We'll get this started within the next week or so, and to kind of get things arranged. All the details are in those packages. So get it back. If you're still interested in participating, send me an email at slowhandmethod@gmail.com. Subject mindful trading. I'll send you out a package. I'll give you some details. If you have any questions, email me, ask me the questions, and we'll go from there. Okay? And that's it for now. This is Vance. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.